The following episode contains potential spoilers for a published adventure. Are you sure you want to spoil the experience for yourself and your DM?
Welcome to another Legend Lore episode of the It's a Mimic podcast, where you never know what you're going to get. Welcome to another episode of Legend Lore, where we explore and discuss books and media related to tabletop role-playing games. I'm Adam, and with me is Pepperina, and today we're covering Dragon Delves.
Before we get into this product, though, let me ask a couple questions. Roll for initiative.
I got a 12.
I got an 8. All right, so what do you know about this book going into it?
I've actually... Okay, so normally when we have a brand new book, I don't look at it ahead of time, but I really wanted to dig into this one because it's the first one that isn't one of the core rule books for the new rule set. And so, I've been out of town, so I haven't been able to buy it. So I did pre-order it on D&D Beyond, so I got the preview, and I did kind of scroll through it a little bit. I know a little about it. I've read a couple of the adventures through and through, but I have been excited about this book for a while. I also know, before you answer, I also know you didn't know this book was coming till I'm like, hey, guess what?
I didn't. I looked at the schedule and I was like, I don't know what this means, but okay. And about 5 days ago, I messaged you and I was like, hey, what do I need to do for this episode?
So normally what we do is I try not to do these online. We've only done one before online, and it was on the Patreon, and it was me and Jeff going over the old starter set because he had run it a bunch of times. I want to talk to him. Normally we hand it back and forth. We sit there and flip through the pages, and it's very like discover this together kind of feel. But there's no way I could do a dragon book episode and not have you on it. So here we are.
Yeah. All right, so what do you hope to see in the book?
I wanted really 3 big things. One, I wanted to get into the idea of dragons and kind of see what their lairs look like, because I don't know I guess you've recorded a bunch of dragon episodes at this point already, but like the regional effects are gone, there are fewer lair actions. Like I just wanted more for dragons, right? Because the new Monster Man was just a little light.
Yeah.
And so that was the one big thing that I wanted first and foremost. I wanted the dragons to be really highlighted. Like if you're going to make it a Dragon Delves book, don't have them as the quest giver where they sit back and do nothing as you go off on an adventure, then come back and they give you a reward. Like make it about the dragons. And I want to see dragon eggs.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was like not knowing anything about the book, and that when we got into it, I was like, is it just another like Fizbins? Are they adding things like that? I was happy to see that it wasn't. While I do absolutely love Fizbins and stand by it being my favorite book, I'm glad that it wasn't just a repeat book and it like adds more to your game and inspirations and stuff like that. So I really hope I've just sort of glanced through it quickly, but overall I just hope that it really adds to your game and as a DM makes it very easy for you to run a dragon adventure.
Yeah. Have you flipped through a little bit already?
Yeah, I just flipped through, kind of looked at the art, kind of looked at, what was going on with it and that. I haven't read super into any of it, just like seeing what was going on with it.
Yeah.
So what are your concerns about the book?
I didn't want this book to be an afterthought product. Like there have been some products that we've gotten kind of recently that are clearly afterthoughts. I love the Book of Many Things, but it's like they just took a bunch of random ideas that didn't make it into the rest of 5th edition. Like, okay, we're going to plug it into this book. Or like, we don't know what else to say about spell jamming, so we're just going to add 40 pages of fucking ships without any real details, just like a basic stat block, and here's what it looks like over and over again. Like, there have been, honestly, some afterthought kind of feel. Quest for the Infinite Staircase, I believe, was an afterthought because it's a redo of a bunch of famous ones that have just kind of like been adapted of old famous smaller adventures, and it wasn't on their initial release announcements, rather than press release about, hey, we're going to do this and this and this. It kind of got snuck in at the end because I think that the core rules got delayed a little bit by like half a year, so they needed another book. So they're afterthought products. This one is weird because with Dragon Delves, it's coming out before the starter set.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an odd choice. You'd think that you would do the core rules and the starter set, right? But they've got this one, and they've got the Eberron release next month. And so I don't think that this is an afterthought, but like we're going to dig into it a little bit and see how detailed and how intense it is. Do you have a page count on the book? Like you have the book in front of you right now, right?
Yes, I do.
How many pages is it?
192.
Not very big. I mean,
no,
not super small, but not really big. Hold on, let me grab one off the shelf here. This is kind of an anthology, so let me grab Yawning Portal. The Yawning Portal had, I think, 7 adventures in it, and it came in at about 250 pages. Yeah, 248.
Yeah, it does. Like when I got it, I ordered it on Amazon so it would get here on time. And when I got it, I was like, this seems a little skinny compared to, I have most of the like 5e books. So like comparatively it was a little thin.
One of the things that I think that they're doing, and we'll need to see more of the new rule set and the new kind of perspective on Dungeons and Dragons moving forward, from Wizards of the Coast anyway. But I think what they're doing is they're committing to staying setting agnostic. So you're not going to find yourself walking down the road from Icewind Dale to discover an adventure, right? So a lot of that stuff is going to be, you can put it here. And it can be kind of like this, and it's going to be like you can place it in grasslands at night in the winter, right? And that's it, right? So I think that a lot of it's kind of hand waved a little bit. We're not going to get into deep history and lore. We're not going to be in Waterdeep or Sharn or any of the other cities, because they're trying to keep this so that anyone can use it. And as a result, there's fewer words. It's a little bit lighter. I don't know how I feel about that. Frankly, there are 10 chapters in this. And spoiler alert, I do know this. It's one chapter for each one of the chromatic and metallic dragons, right?
Yes.
But it's a Dragon Delves book. It's not out of the realm of possibility to have wyverns and kobolds and have chapters for those as well if you wanted to beef it up to have a couple more chapters, right? Like we could have done more. So It feels light, but I also feel like they didn't release any new stat blocks for gem dragons, which annoys me. But because I would have liked to have seen that. That would have been good if we'd had 15, right? And had the gem dragons included. But like there's no shadow dragon in this. There's no Dracolich. There's not even a Hydra, right? Like we're not getting in any of that. So I just hope that what it does really well to justify the price tag.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, one of my concerns was a lot of times like when they come out with new books, it's really just old books.
Yeah.
With a new face on it, and they just take the same information that you've already bought and just rearrange it.
I don't think this one does that at all. This is all new.
No.
So
yes. So that was my concern looking at it. Like, what exactly is this going to be? Hopefully it's not just a repeat of the same information we already have in, a different order. So, as long as it's not that, which I don't think it is from flipping through it, I'm very happy.
Yeah. Let's grab dice and roll initiative to see who's going to run through this book first, in what order.
Okay. Well, I rolled a 1.
Oh, we're rolling off. Yay.
We both got 1s.
This does not bode well for this episode. I got a 3.
14. For the record, you got me this dice, so that one was your fault.
Really quickly, let's look at the physical book. I'm glad you're going first because I am fairly limited for the first bit that we go over. we're looking for, walk us through what do we find on the cover, the title page, and what's the alternate cover look like, and all that good stuff, or right up through the table of contents.
All right. So the cover, looking at it, it's got all 5 of the chromatic dragons on it. There are no metallics on the cover. I haven't actually looked at the alternate cover. I'll have to Google that quick. So I don't know if maybe that one is metallic or not.
Here, I'll look it up. I'll look it up while you talk.
Okay. And then I actually have a piece of artwork that hangs right above my computer that is Tiamat that looks very similar to this one. Like it is slightly different, but it has the same vibe. This one is all 5 of the chromatics. The red in the center, breathing fire. There are trees and stuff in the background and cliffs, and there's like 3 adventurers standing there looking at these dragons. My Tiamat artwork is Tiamat, red dragon head in the center, breathing fire, things burning around them, and adventurers running towards them. So it is almost exactly the same picture, just slightly different of that. I'll have to send you a picture of them next to each other. But it is very cool art. There's skulls and stuff around. You can very much see something big is happening there.
I'm looking at the alt cover right now, and it is in that neon style. There's one of the chapters, it's in the neon style too. I want to say it's the brass dragon one, actually. You remember those back in the 90s and early 2000s, where anytime you walked into somebody's room and you saw a wizard there's a poster of a wizard smoking a pipe with a bunch of mushrooms, and it clearly glows in black light, and you look at it and go, oh, this person smokes lots of pot. It's that style of art.
It was just any teenager in the 90s who like my sister definitely had neon posters in her room, and we did not smoke pot, but it was just that 90s black light.
Yeah.
Plastic furniture, neon paintings vibe.
Yeah, it looks really cool. The cover, is just I want to say red dragon, although it looks a little purpley and yellow with the highlights and stuff. And it's just got a frame around it. On the back cover, there seems to be is that a black dragon? It looks like a black dragon hatching out of a green colored dragon egg with ruins in the background with the moon. It's very much let's do some magic mushrooms and listen to Pink Floyd.
Yeah. Okay, so I just pulled it up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. I like it. And it is definitely fantasy art definitely is represented here on this alternate cover. I do think it's kind of cool. I myself will buy the actual cover. Yeah, the only reason I don't have it is because they're all sold out everywhere right now when I got home. So
yeah. It is definitely giving me flashbacks to 80s, 90s artwork time. And then if you look at the back cover, it's got 4 different pieces of art, and these are pieces of art styles through the book. Because flipping through each chapter does have a different art style.
Yes, which I thought was really cool. I like that.
Yeah, me too. So I like that the back cover sort of gives you an insight on what you're going to be seeing in here, and that it's not all your classic D&D art. And then if you flip it open, the front page and the back pages are all of the dragons, the chromatic and metallic, sort of laid out as an overhead view of them, and it has them all listed on what kind they are. It's very cool pieces of art, and then there's hand-drawn sketches sort of muted behind that.
Oh, that's cool.
So the top down is in color, and then you can see just little background sketches behind them. One that I find because I'm me, and I find this really interesting, is there is a close-up of a foot, but then it has it flipped over, so it's the underside, so you can see the padding and what the underside of a dragon's foot looks like.
Cool.
Which is something you don't normally see in artwork. I've seen all of these dragons drawn in various ways and their breath weapons depicted in various ways, but I've never seen just a close-up of the underside of their paw.
No, that's neat.
Yeah, so I really enjoy that as an artist and a dragon lover, that they have those things included.
Yeah, that's cool.
I don't
So
know if everybody else is going to be as excited about the other side of a dragon ball as I was.
anyone that loves dragons and has a foot fetish is going to be very much into this.
What's going on my feet finder? Um,
Was that the title page, or is that just the
that's just as soon as you open it.
Yeah, those blank pages?
That's
Yeah.
the blank pages, yeah. So then you turn it to the title page, and it's a metallic one, and with the art changing, I'm still like getting used to which dragons are which with the metallic, because they all sort of changed in looks. They're not quite as easy to
I find that
recognize.
the gold is very, very distinct now, and the silver still has the mohawk. But the other three, like I'm looking pretty closely at the color and almost the highlights of the color. I'm looking for like the head fins, so I know the difference between a brass and a bronze. Right.
Yeah. This one I'm going to say is either, I think it might be a copper. It's either copper or bronze. But looking at the artwork on the page in front of it, I think it's a copper dragon.
Wild.
And it's sort of wrapped around the top of a building with its tail wrapped around and its arm kind of hunched over it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's these little details that I always miss with D&D Beyond.
Yeah, it doesn't quite show those things.
No. So
well, and then I guess if I would have just flipped the page, I would have seen the alt cover, because there's a picture of it on the credits page.
And now we know.
So I didn't have to Google it. It was right there. Yeah, so then we get, the credits page. It gives you on the cover information, and then it gives you the alt cover information.
Really
it
quickly,
says the alt cover is a psychedelic scene of dragon-filled dreams.
Oh, if I go down to the credits at the end at D&D Beyond, it shows the alt cover, not the backs of them, but just on the alt cover, and then the title page thing too of this. That's got to be copper, right?
Mm-hmm.
The copper dragon wrapped around the top of the castle there.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And I'm just looking at the actual lead designers here: Amanda Heyman and James Wyatt. These are names I'm recognizing. And now that they're doing all these releases and stuff, they got rid of Todd Klapik off the D&D Beyond YouTube channel, and all the others. Christopher Perkins and Jeremy Crawford have left Wizards of the Coast now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm starting to recognize some of these other names, like Mackenzie is here, and Steve Townsend and Aaron Roberts. Like, I'm recognizing some of these people now just from like the little blurbs, some of these names. It's going to be interesting. I think this might be the first one where I am paying attention, the first edition rather, where I'm paying attention to who's writing what. And so, but Jeremy Crawford and Christopher Perkins are still involved in this book. So they got credits, which is interesting. So anyway, I know you don't care, but I care, and 4 people listening.
Yeah, so then we get the contents. It tells you, where everything's at. There's another piece of artwork on that page that has all the chromatic dragons sort of pieced together, not like in the same scene, but scenes that blend together.
Okay.
Which is very cool. Like it shows the red dragon up front breathing fire down, then like off to the side there's the white dragon in snow. The black dragon is flying over a ship, and you can see the blue dragon with lightning behind it, and the green dragon is like sort of sneaking, it looks like, on some rocks, and it all just sort of like meshes together.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Is there a disclaimer on the credits page? Did you see one? Because they got rid of them for the core rule books.
I don't see anything that says disclaimer.
It should be right around where the artwork is. I think they gave up on the disclaimers. The disclaimers are always kind of cutesy and funny, right? And it seems that they've gotten rid of that. So
yeah,
which is too bad.
Yeah, this it just sort of tells you there is a history of each dragon of the 10 mains, and then followed by a chapter that looks like an adventure to coincide with each of those dragons. So that's sort of what the contents tells you. If you just want to look at the history of a copper dragon, it tells you where to find that. Or it does say specifically, like, you know, chapter 2 is for level 3 adventures. Chapter 9 is for level 12 adventures.
Yeah.
So that I find is very helpful if you need to know exactly, like, oh, I have a level 7 party. What adventure in here should I run? Chapter 5.
I'm looking at the table of contents as well, and I see, so here's one of the downfalls of a book like this. If I want a green dragon adventure for my level 7 party, I don't get that here.
Yeah.
I get a green dragon adventure for a level 1 party. And I can adapt that myself, but I don't believe there's any help in this book about how to scale up, pardon the pun, or scale down the difficulty level for the dragon adventures and whatnot. And maybe that's because these adventures are very specifically built around a wormling or an ancient or whatever, right? Like, it's not going to make sense to scale it down. But that is something that makes me wish that we had a book like this for metallic dragons only with 20 chapters. So all 5 of them could do all 4 of the age ranges, right?
Yeah.
And then another book for metallic. So the same thing, 20 chapters. But now I'm just being greedy. And yeah, so
as my kids would say, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit at them.
You've not been paying attention to this podcast. Fit throwing is what I do.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah, it's my main personality trait at this point. So
I was just telling Dylan I kind of love the episodes where we get to just tear things apart.
I can't remember if it was the lunar or the solar dragon, but fuck, did we go after it?
The lunar dragon.
Yeah, man, we
which I brought up again in the dragon intro episode. I was like, shout out to these ones and fuck the lunar dragon. You know what you did.
What you said, that there's a little section for each one of them. There's like a history of green dragons or brass dragons or whatever it is, right? So is that at the beginning or the end? Like, is that before the chapter?
Yes, that's before. So like the history of the green dragon starts on page 7. Chapter 1 starts on page 12.
Interesting.
So
D&D
it's
Beyond,
before
the history comes,
leading into.
Yeah, the history comes afterwards on D&D Beyond.
Interesting.
Yeah, they launch you just right into it. So before we jump into any of the chapters, let me go over the introduction section. Was there anything else you want to talk about? Table of contents or anything?
Nope. I think that about covers it. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's, you know, 1 page and just goes right into what each chapter is, basically.
Okay. So when I jump into the introduction here, it says dragons in dungeons. I personally always hate the idea of a dragon hanging out in like underground in a dungeon. It just doesn't feel good for dragons, knowing what I know. But this opening section just pretty much says the dungeons in questions are their lairs, right? Oh, okay, that makes sense to me now. So it says each of the 10 adventures in this book features a dragon and a lair, designed for characters level 1 through 12, and that's, you know, kind of. The adventures offer a range of challenges, from defeating evil dragons to working with good dragons, as well as navigating more complicated moral dilemmas. And then it gets into using the book. This is an anthology, and then it gets into using it as a one-shot. Maybe you're doing one-shot adventures, trying to pull a new group together, or your regular DM is sick, has a scheduling conflict, or you can kind of push this into an ongoing campaign. I have thoughts about that. I don't think that this book makes that easy. These are, like, you can definitely work these in, but it's going to take a lot of heavy lifting from a DM. These are going to be great as side quests when a handful of people are going to be away all summer. We're going to do a couple of dragon side quests, right? But as soon as it's done, it's done. You're not coming, like, it's very difficult to work this back in to the story. This might be the least available anthology that we've gotten for just grabbing a random adventure and putting it in your own homebrew campaign. This one feels to me like they're so succinct themselves and so clearly having a beginning, middle, and end that it's going to be difficult to plug and play into your homebrew, or, you know, tacking this on to the middle of your Icewind Dale campaign because we're taking a break. Like, it's going to be difficult to do that.
I do see this working well for my personal family game because it is very dragon heavy, of course. But like you said, I don't know that it's gonna work well with other people's. My personal one is that like if Dylan or my children are listening, skip ahead. But they're going to meet the Miriam, who's the dragon that lives in the library, and she's gonna send them off to like collect library books that are overdue. So she's gonna send them off to other dragons and areas
Oh,
throughout the world.
so
So
this
I
is perfect for
could,
that. Yeah.
yeah, I could pick this up and just add, and they owe you a library book.
Yeah.
At the end of it, right? So I think for me and my personal campaign, this would go very well. But yeah, like you said, you know, they are great one shots. You could maybe turn that one shot into a campaign and lead out from it. But I don't know how many of them you can really squeeze into like one full campaign.
Well, the next section in
But
this
we'll have to
actually,
see that. Yeah.
yeah, actually talks about that. They give you 3 options. Each one is, I think 2 of these are just completely blasé, like who gives a shit, but one of them's really cool. One of them just, there's a mysterious patron who's sending you on these quests, go do the quests. All right, that's boring. That is literally DM 101. The next one is, there are magic items in each one of the hordes, go get the magic items. It does specifically say that the first 3 adventures, and I guess I think maybe one more after that, are they all feature a specific item to go get out of a horde, so that might be a good way to start you off at tier 1 party. But option 2 that they list here is the brazen egg, and you essentially end up getting an egg that must be quote unquote steeped in the hordes of 10 dragons, one of each chromatic and metallic, to activate its power. So that would send you to each one of these layers. That I think is a fun little campaign. Then it gets you into the running the adventures, and how to prep for them, how to deal with like running initiative. It says you can use player assistance, and this is a neat thing that I haven't seen before. You can have it recommends one player tracking initiative for the characters and monsters. Whenever the characters enter combat with hostile monsters, 1 or 2 players run the monsters using the monster manual. Or you can have one player who is the rules consultant, who's just your rules lawyer. We all have that person at the table anyway. Just give them the role of, here, this is what you do. Whenever something comes up, you can look it up and see if we're using it right. And then when they say, well, actually, yeah, that's fine, listen to that guy, right? And move on. So it talks a little bit about adventures for 1 characters. And then there's a blessing in here, a supernatural gift, which is the blessing of the lone champion, which essentially just gives you heroic inspiration whenever you finish a rest and a certain number of temporary hit points. So it's a short introduction. It's not adding too much. I like that little thing about the brazen egg. But it does seem to be designed for newer DMs. And then it launches us into the main section here. So for this episode, because we're already running into this episode a bit, there are 10 adventures. I'm going to do a really quick breakdown of what you can expect in each one of them, just based on like the difficulty level of them more than anything else. And then we're going to hone in on one. Do you want to choose which one we want to jump in on?
Oh, you know which one I want to jump in on.
Of course I do. All right. Well, I was wondering if it was going to be chapter 2 or chapter 4. Chapter 4 is brass dragons, and you are a brass dragon, so
yeah. I was a little sad chapter 2 was a gold dragon, but it still looks amazing.
So here we go. I'm gonna just kind of do a very quick breakdown of the first 3, and because I don't want to give too many spoilers away for anyone who's going to play this. But chapter 1 is an adventure for level 1 adventurers. It says it's going to take 1 to 2 sessions. Any DM who knows how Dungeons and Dragons works knows that you times that by 2, because your players are insane and they will take you off down weird paths. So it says 1 to 2. I think that they're aiming for like a 4-hour session. I would expect that these will probably be like a 12-hour run if it says 1 to 2 sessions. So you get a green wormling in here, which is CR2, and a U1T Malison, which is CR3. Your guys are level 1. You will get fucked up in this pretty quickly. This one, like all level 1 adventures, is weirdly deadly for almost no reason. We have entire swaths of CR0 and CR1/8 creatures. Nah, fuck that. We're going after the CR3 creature. Characters will die. in this. So you might want to pull that back a little bit for anyone who's going to run this with a little bit easier monsters, or maybe using, less or fewer hit points, or drop the AC a couple of points or something. The next chapter is not level 2 characters. It bumps up to level 3 characters. The cool thing about the Green Dragon chapter 1, before I move on, is it's called Death at Sunset. And that's actually the name of the Green Dragon Wormling. It takes place in a lair where it was like there's a skeleton of ancient green dragon that laid the egg, and it is now hatching and like taking over its mother's lair and legacy, right? And so there's a bunch of like gross poison stuff, and UNT are involved in all this. So like that's kind of what you're dealing with in that one. So it's got a neat little flavor to it. You're trying to get rid of the bad guy before it gets started, which is fun. The second one is called Baker's Doesn't. It is fucking adorable, and we will get into it. But it is level 3 characters. You end up with a gold wormling, which is CR3, and you end up with a bunch of other stat blocks too that at level 3, these things could fuck you up. There's an ogre stat block for CR2, green hag is CR3, 3 bugbear warriors, all of them are CR1, 4 cockatrice, they're all CR1 half, and they can really take out a party without much trouble. And a mummy stat block. At level 3, this is a grind. And when you look at the artwork, and we'll get into it, it's very, very unassuming. It's almost cartoony. It's very cute. And I think that it will straight up murder some of the players.
Yeah.
Or the player characters anyway. You better not be murdering your players. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to tell you what to do.
Some of them deserve it.
The next one that I'm going to focus on is level 4. So chapter 3 is for 4th level characters. Again, 1 to 2 sessions. All of them in this are 1 to 2 sessions except for one. I'm going to get into that in a minute. This one gives you a silver wormling, which is a CR2, but you're working with them. You do have to go up against 2 ogre zombies at the same time. They're CR2 apiece, so that's a fair fight. But they also come with a cultist fanatic, so you're outnumbered. There's a ghost, a wraith, which is a CR5 and pretty deadly, and a ghast gravecaller, which is a CR6 with 4 CR1 ghouls. So that's really fucking deadly. And also, on top of that, depending on how you roll, you may end up going up against a flame skull or a black pudding. This one, again, is super deadly, but it should be. This one, you're actually in a temple of Orcus, and you're dealing with like some really nasty undead shit in it. Chapter 4 is for 5th level characters. You're up against a young brass dragon. Chapter 5, you're up against level 7 characters, up against a young bronze. I guess you're working with them, both the brass and the bronze. Chapter 6 is, I believe, the pinnacle, the tent pole that's like holding up the rest of this book. This is the young red dragon you're going to be up against. You're level 9. It's a CR10, but of course, dragons are always way more dangerous. But this one is meant to be 3 to 4 sessions long, which means you're probably in this for maybe 20 hours of gameplay. It's huge. There's a lot going on in this one. It's called the Forbidden Veil for anyone who wants to get into it. But there is a young red dragon who is just decimating the landscape, and you've got to deal with it. And in the end, you fight a young red dragon, and it looks fairly intense. So chapter 7 is for black dragons. This is the first adult dragon that we see. You're level 10. It's CR14, and yes, you have to fight it. People will die. It is a pretty deadly adventure. Chapter 8 is called Shivering Death, which makes sense because it's an adult white dragon. It's actually CR13, so it's less intense than the adult black. You are a level higher, and it's a CR lower. But this one comes with a young Remoraz, a bunch of CR8 frost giants, a troll, and a shield guardian. There's some heavy hitters in here. This one, I think, is the most likely to have you guys just up against really big things that are going to fuck you up, as opposed to a bunch of little things. And anyway, I think this one's pretty gnarly as well. The second last chapter is for level 12 characters. It takes 1 to 2 sessions, of course, and it is for adult copper dragons, CR14. But there's also 2 green wormlings in there as well, which are CR2 apiece. And it has a purple worm, so this one's pretty fun. I think this one is actually one of the ones that is more based around the role-playing pillar and more social encounters.
Mhm.
And then the last one, you actually have to fight an ancient blue dragon, which is CR23. And this is a problem because you're level 12, but there is an artifact in it that helps by quote unquote weakening it. And essentially you end up fighting an adult blue dragon. You weaken the ancient till you just use the adult blue stat block. But still, you're level 12. It's a CR16 blue dragon. It's going to fuck you up. Like this is a party killer right here. I don't expect many parties are walking away, especially if you're doing a one shot. You don't have a campaign full of magic items and heroic inspiration shit that you've picked up along the way. You don't have 45 NPCs to throw at this thing. You're in trouble, right? So
yeah, it also looks like a mummy lord is included in that. So
yeah. It's really interesting. This book, more than any other, is meant to kill player characters. I have seen a lot of the stat blocks I read through, like I've glanced off of it. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's going to scare your player characters, but I also want to point out that players are more powerful than ever before. And I think that they're actually punching outside of what we're used to in like 5th edition. Like they are way more, like healing magic is more powerful. You are rolling better dice in a lot of the spells. A lot of the abilities are more powerful in combat. So it might be a little bit more fair than I'm making it out to be. But I bet these things are going to kill player characters if a DM is not careful. So almost every one of these adventures is a little bit more intense than it looks at surface value, but that's the nature of fucking around with dragons. So
yeah, that's how a dragon adventure should be. And especially with these being one shots, like you're not going to have as big a connection with your character. So I feel like it is okay if one dies along the way. Like just warn your players, especially if they're new players. Like there's a very real, because I feel like newer players get more connected at like protective of their PCs that they create. After you've had a couple die, you're like, okay, that's it's fine if they die. I have 5 more ready to go. But I do think, like, as a DM, if you are running a dragon adventure of any kind, there should be that threat of at least one of you is not making it out of this.
I just feel like specifically for the Red Dragon and like chapters 9 and 10 in this as well, where you're really fighting shit that you are not prepared for. I feel like the one use scroll of Revivify, just as a warning, like to the players that, hey, I'm playing for keeps, is going to go a long way. You know what I mean? Or adding the NPC healer character so that you can murder them in the last combat and make everybody go, oh shit, we're in real trouble now. So anyway, which one do you think we're going to click on? So chapter 2, Baker's Doesn't, which the pun makes me very happy. Do you want to walk us through this one, Peps, really quickly?
Yeah. So when you first get into it, like we sort of mentioned, the artwork of this one and the artwork of all of them is different. This one is very cartoony. Like I could see this being a like Saturday morning cartoon. With the way of the artwork.
Yeah, and it's almost like it's not just a cartoon. This could be a children's book.
Right? Yeah, like it is very whimsical, I think is a good word for it. And all of these chapters, they start out, they give you key plot points that you can look into. They give you step-by-step instructions. There's a section running for one character, which I think is pretty cool that it tells you how to run it for just one person, because I think a lot of times people don't get into D&D because they don't feel like they have enough people to play. And I know you and Miaca play one-on-one. And I think that is a great way to get people into it. Like you don't need 6 people to play this. You can do it with just the DM and one person.
Casey also has one. She runs it for her partner as well, right? So
I like that they include that, and it feels less limiting just in general. It gives you key NPCs. The names in this one are amazing. Like there's Brioche Bane, Bubba Wugga, Edith Applegarth, Uncle Nickel Cheek. So those are the kind of whimsical names you're getting in this chapter, which I love. And then, you know, as you flip through it, it gives you background on the characters. It gives you an adventure background. There's a super cute drawing of a little old lady with her like apple apron and candy stripe cane that you just want to like adopt as your grandma.
She is adorable.
Yeah.
Well,
I
hold up.
love all of the maps included in this because as a DM, I find that like coming up with maps is one of the hardest parts. So I love that it includes just your basic maps of each area you're going into.
Yeah, I'm going to pause you for a sec here because before we get into this one specifically, I just want to point out that every one of the adventures does this, and this is why you said it's, you know, we know this has very few pages, right?
Mhm.
And it's because we're getting all this shit laid out very, very simply at the beginning to make it very easy to run. In previous adventures, we would have like a whole section that was based on getting to the adventure and learning the background things you would need to know and name dropping the stuff that like it was written very like narratively to get to the adventure. We've gotten rid of that in every one of these adventures here. We have the key plot points, and every one of the adventures has like little sections. This one is called the confectionery conflagration. I'm not going to get that right. Phil's Bakery and the Candy Cottage. Those are the three sections of the adventure, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. But those are the key plot points, and it summarizes them in a paragraph apiece. And then for preparation, it says, step 1, if you're running it for a single character, read that section. Step 2, read the adventure background. Step 3, familiarize yourself with key NPCs and the table below. And then step 4, here are all the stat blocks in the monster manual that you're going to need. And this is perfect for me to sit down with my little bookmarks and tabs ahead of time and mark it in the book, or grab screenshots of it if I'm working on D&D Beyond and I'm doing it online or something. This is so helpful. And on D&D Beyond, they're all linked. And when you hover over them, it brings the stat block up. It's very simple. It doesn't include the actions, but you can get a sense of, you know, the basic math, initiative, hit points, speed, languages, all that shit, right? So the section for running for one character talks about the skills that they're going to need, which is really cool, as well as pointing you back to the blessing of the lone champion, the supernatural gift. And then the key NPCs, fuck me, is this helpful. Can you imagine if Curse of Strahd had this? Fuck.
Yeah.
It would be so good.
Just page 1 of each chapter is super helpful in laying out exactly what you need. And there are no stat blocks in this book. I do like that they include, like, you can find these stat blocks here. Like, these are the ones you need to prepare. And from the monster manual. Like, you're not having to look through 20 different books. It just says from the monster manual, or on D&D Beyond. And it's not bogging down the entire book with stat blocks for every single thing. And
it's super useful because let's take Brioche Bane, for example, which is the gold dragon wormling. It tells us that's what this is. The role is this is a dragon charmed by Uncle Nibblecheek. Okay. And you can find it in location C10. That is so fucking useful. That is. Now I don't have to go flipping through the entire adventure looking for a highlighted word to figure out where what I'm doing, where I'm going. I have to say, this right here, this makes this book infinitely more inviting for me as a dungeon master and easier for new DMs.
Yeah. Well, and I've never run a game out of a book. I've never run like a written campaign because I do find them confusing. I've ran 1 or 2 written one-shots for Call of Cthulhu, and I feel like I got really bogged down in the, like, well, what is supposed to happen next, and what do I need here, and like,
I gotta tell you right now,
did this thing too early, like, what?
Call of Cthulhu is the worst fucking example because It's so open-ended, right? So that's, but
Yeah.
anyway, the other
So
thing,
I do like that they sort of simplified this because, like I said, as much as like home brewing and coming up with your own things seems very daunting, I find it easier than following the set out paths that like adventures that they have for you.
I agree with you 100%, but I also know people that rely on that, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
the last thing I want to point out is the maps all the way through this book are very helpful. Like
Mhm.
all of the maps are good. I like the one in this particularly because the North Star symbol that you get, like this way is north, is a lollipop, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah, everything in this one is like just very cutesy and whimsical.
I
Um,
got to tell you, when I was on Reddit and there were people that were reacting to this and whatnot, and they said they used this specific chapter as a reason why they do not want to buy the book because it's too cutesy, it's too bullshit, it's meant for kids. Why would anyone want to play this shit? And these are literally people that are judging the artwork and then disregarding an entire fun adventure. And these are miserable, ugly people that don't know how to have fun. So
yeah, I mean, one of the most deadly games I ran was a very cutesy, whimsical one where they ended up on a floating island of candy. And like there were gummy bears that came down and like kidnapped them and stuff. And there was a pink dragon wormling I made up that breathed cotton candy. But it was like very cutesy, but like this dragon will kill you.
anyone
in a molten thing of
yeah,
like sugar.
anyone who thinks that cute does not equal deadly does not understand how the fucking Fae work. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's my whole vibe. Like, I either run cutesy games or I run like Call of Cthulhu games, and I love when I get to mix them together.
And this adventure in this book specifically is a good blending of the two.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I'm
and
sorry,
I
I cut
think
you off
with
before.
the maps, like I think with all of the maps in this book too, like I said before, I have trouble like coming up with maps. I think you can like these ones especially are just general maps. Like there's one for Phil's Bakery. You can use that for any bakery or store or like place like that your players are going into. If you're like, I don't know how this bakery should be set up. They have it laid up. You can pull it out and use it wherever you need to or as inspiration. And I think that really goes for any of the maps that are in here. They even have in the one, there's the Temple of Orcus. Like, even if you're not running this adventure, to have a Temple of Orcus map is so useful if that is a place your players are going to.
Absolutely. Did you want to run us through the adventure really quickly before we wrap the episode up?
I haven't like read it, so I don't know exactly what.
How about I read out the key plot points for this one, and as you flip through and find the little bits and pieces that make you laugh.
Okay.
So the cool thing about the key plot points is that it summarizes each one of the acts and it gets you kind of pointed in the right direction for what we need to accomplish. So you can change details around it, but this let me read it out to you. The first one, confectionery conflagration. Conflagration. I'm never gonna get this right. The adventurers.
We don't know that word. You got it.
Just thank God Megan's not here trying to pronounce it. So the adventurers help a halfling confectioner named Edith Applegarth, whose shop is accidentally set ablaze by a gold dragon. Clues at the scene suggest the possible involvement of a local baker, Phil Flowerforge. He's a dwarf. While an eyewitness saw the wormling flee into the forest. The characters might interrogate Phil or venture into the woods. So that's part one. Part two is Phil's Bakery. Characters who visit Phil's Bakery learn that he has been raising a rambunctious wormling named Briochebane in secret. The dragon went to the confectionery that morning intending to frighten Edith, accidentally started the fire, then fled into the forest. Phil doesn't know where Briochebane is, so that's Act 2. And Act 3 is the Candy Cottage. Searching for Briochebane in the woods leads the characters to a candy cottage where a hag named Uncle Nibblecheek has captured the wormling. In confronting the hag, the characters discover that Edith made a pact with the hag years ago, trading her younger brother for a lifetime supply of candy. So there's a little bit of darkness in this. It's a little chaotic, and there's a fun mystery to solve. At surface level, it's very cutesy and fun, but I mean, I'm looking at the stat blocks that we need, and between the mummy and the bugbear warriors, the cockatrices, the dryads, the goblin warrior, there's a lot going on here. So
yeah, and the candy cottage is like very Hansel and Gretel vibes.
Yes.
There's like gumdrops lining the road, and then the very candy bright colored cottage, but you can see in the background there's like eyes hidden in the trees and thorns and stuff off to the side. So it gives you that like bright, whimsical, candy coated flavor, but it also sort of shows you that there's darkness in it as well, with the like spooky eyes and the thorns and that. So it like the artwork does give you a really nice blend of the two.
Yeah. Did you see any details in there that stand out to you?
One of the things I read or looked at first was there's a doll called Bubba Wugga. That is a Cyclops doll, and it's holding a lollipop that looks like a mace. And just the way that like it talks, and it says "Sorry, kitchen's closed."
That's so cute.
It's very cute, but it's also like a giant Cyclops holding a candy mace.
And you've got to go find candy to make it happy, and it's got a little table afterwards. I'm just reading this now. It says the candied apple is in the candied apple orchard. The gummy pillow is in Gummy Mummy's tomb. Like there's a lot of, like, it's cutesy, but there's fetch quests in here. This is very Dungeons and Dragons with the very different kind of like veneer on top of it to make it feel like very different. This is a great inspiration for people that want to mix it up when they're tired of the grimdark, right? They want to still have an adventure, but keep it a little bit lighter.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like gingerbread men that have somebody in a cage and are using a rolling pin like a weapon.
Oh my God, there's a section here called The Hag's Dentures. Uncle Nibblecheek's dentures popped out while he was eating the candied apple at the end table. Hag was summoned elsewhere before he could free his teeth from the sticky treat. Removing the dentures from the apple requires a utilize action, a successful DC 10 athletics check. All right. That's so weird. I really like this. It's fun.
It is. This one's a very fun chapter, and just this chapter is just me, like in a book.
And of
like
course,
if I was to come up with an adventure to put in this book, it would be this one. Like it is just the epitome of me.
Peps, your full name of Pepperina literally includes spices in it. Like, yeah. So there's of course a conclusion. If this happens, then that. If this happens, then that. And then there's a little section for other endings. There's a reward at the end. And then we should talk about let's deal with the history of Gold Dragons. It's at the beginning for you, but it's at the end for me. And I don't know what you're able to see, but I'm seeing a bunch of different artwork more than anything else. There's a very short blurb.
Yes, when it says the history of, it's more so the art history of. Yes. So the history of title is very, I think, sort of deceiving. If you're expecting a huge, long written out history. Each of them in this go this way, but again, as an artist, I find it very interesting to be able to look at this artwork side by side and see the evolution of each of these dragons and where they started and where, they are now. I mean, there's artwork from 1977, 1993, 1994, 2003. It includes the magic card for each of these, which is pretty cool for anybody who's into magic. I have all of those.
Yeah.
Up to the modern day, it has the 2009 artwork, the 2014, the concept art from 2023, and then what is actually in the new monster manual.
Yeah, it's very cool. I like this section. But you're right, it's not a history of, it is a visual history of.
Yes, it is an art history of each of these dragons.
Now, when you go to the beginning of the history section, do you have a bunch of runes listed out there?
Nope. Underneath it,
Yeah.
yeah, it says History of Gold Dragons, and then there's like a bunch of runes under it.
I'm just curious if it's like, is that a direct translation to History of Gold Dragons? I don't know if it is, because I went over to History of Silver Dragons and a lot of the runes are very different. So
It's different, unless it just says Gold Dragons and Silver, because the end of it looks the same.
Yeah, and I think it's like, you know, the translation is a little different. Like it'll be Silver Dragons might be what, like how this breaks down instead of the full like history of, because I think dragons is the same. Anyway, it's very interesting. So very cool. So
yeah, and then there's just like a little sketch over in the corner of each of them too, that's just the head, that almost looks like a child drew it, almost like just a very basic sketch that looks like it was done like on a drawing tablet. I mean, I say this because my daughter has a drawing tablet, and I watched my nephew, who is like 7, with a drawing tablet. And it's that very kind of art that you can draw with those.
Yeah, I'm just flipping through some of the other chapters here. That little cutesy like child drawing is a blue dragon on all of them. So I think that's just the indication of the history of, or at least it is on D&D Beyond. But we
see, on mine it's different for each one.
Well, shit.
Up in the corner, like right next to where it says History of Gold Dragons.
Yeah. For me, it's the blue dragon one over and over and over again.
Yeah, see, they're very, like, this one on the gold dragons has the whiskers. The silver dragon has the mohawk.
No, we just get the nose horn over and over again.
Okay, yeah, the brass dragon has the like front face fins.
Cute. Yeah, I like that.
So it is in the actual book. It is.
I see D&D Beyond is cutting corners again. I weep. Yeah. So like this is really cool. There's nothing else in this book. There's no index or appendices. There's no list of magic items or look at these new monsters, right? One of the things that I said is that I don't want this to be an afterthought, and the adventures don't feel like afterthoughts. But I gotta say, do you feel that this book is complete?
I mean, for me, I always want more when it comes to dragon anything. I would have enjoyed more in the history sections. The artist part of me really enjoys seeing all this different artwork. The dragon lover of me wants to know everything that I can know about them. So, and like we sort of said, the monster manual is lacking in that area from what I've seen. So I would have enjoyed more lore of each of these dragons in the history part of it.
All right, look, let's grab dice and roll initiative again so that we can discuss our final impressions. Yeah. That is 7.
10.
All right, Peps, what's your overall impressions of the content of the whole book?
I enjoy it. I really like when they come out with things that make it easier for new DMs and make it more accessible for new DMs and new players. And I think that running dragons can be very daunting. I've had a lot of people in my DMs asking me questions about running dragons and how they should properly do that. And I think that this answers that for each of these dragon types.
Yeah, for me, I have to look at what we got and not what we didn't. The book is too short. It's not giving me a whole bunch of, like, it's not a Draconomicon. This is not a Fizzbands, right? It's a different kind of book. It's more in line with Tales from the Yawning Portal or Quests from the Infinite Staircase, right? Like these books are meant to be adventures that you can pick up and play, and I think this book does that very, very fucking well, better than almost anything else that I've seen up until this point. I love the layout of this book, and each one of the adventures looks fun and cool. I flipped through them. There's not one that I'm shrugging at and saying, I don't care. They're all fun in different ways. They're all very different adventures. We focused on the one cutesy one. Most of them are classic fantasy D&D, right?
Yeah.
And they're all very unique, and you're going to have a very different experience with each one. There are different goals that need to be accomplished with each one. And with the exception of the Red Dragon one, chapter 6, which was for the 9th level characters, everything else is succinct and to the point. That one is showcasing a red dragon. That's what you get in Dungeons and Dragons, right? Like, if there's a red dragon, we're spending some fucking time on this, right?
Yeah.
And I don't hate that. I think it's a lot of fun. The history of feels like padding. I love to see the art. I just did on the Patreon an episode with Megan talking about Art and Arcana, which is the visual history of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's fascinating. We loved that book. It was so good. Did I send you, because I pre-ordered, I forget which one, maybe it was the Player's Handbook or the Monster Manual or something. I got the visual design book, the special edition thing that was just how they designed dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Did I send that to you? Did you get a chance to flip through it?
Yeah, I think I flipped through it a little bit. I'm real bad about flipping through books on my computer. If it's not a physical book in front of me. But I did look through. Yeah, that was very cool also to look at.
This feels like between those three things, the Art and Arcana, this like the design specs for dragons for, the 2024 rules, and now this history of it, I'm getting a nice complete view here, but this does feel like padding. There's nothing added to this. There's not even a blurb. This gold dragon is holding up a sword to fight a red dragon. Like, there's not even a synopsis or a caption or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it just tells you where the art is from and who did it for each of the pieces of art there. And
while it is interesting to look at the evolution of it, I'm not getting much more than that. It's like, oh, neat. And then I just move on to the adventure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's no draconic items. There's no, main dragonborn NPC that shows up across the half of the adventures. Like, I'm not getting a big bad guy out of this or new cool draconic creatures. When I look at what it set out to do, here's an anthology of adventures. That's what we got, and it did it so fucking well.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at all of the other things I want from a book like this, it's lacking all of that, right? So it is only the adventures.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the artwork?
I really like that each chapter has its own style,
Yes.
and really showcases that style throughout the whole of that chapter. And that really, it can hit anybody because everybody has different art styles. Everybody has different preferences in art styles. And I think that really hits a spot for just about anybody, who is looking for different artwork and that kind of thing. So I really enjoy that it changes in each chapter and it's not the same from adventure to adventure. And that really showcases the difference in dragons and the different feel of each adventure, and that it's not all just the same thing over and over and over again, that let's go to their lair and kill this dragon. Each one is very different and has a very different vibe.
And I really love that. It annoys me that I'm not going to be able to get a big splash page of an ancient gold dragon out of this dragon anthology book. I'm not even a wormling. Like, I'm getting cutesy little like kid art, or I'm not going to be able to get something a little bit more whimsical out of the copper dragon. Copper dragons are pretty whimsical. You're not going to get that artwork. But again, it's not a Draconomicon. Like, that's not what this is for. This is for representing the adventure in this chapter. And as far as I can tell, it's the same artist, or at least the same art style in each chapter. Like, chapter 4 is the same art style. Chapter 5 has its own art style. And that was a really solid choice, I think. I really like it. And it gives each chapter its own identity, and it shines in a different way. I really do love the art in this book.
Yeah. And I think just like as a DM flipping through and like, oh, which one would I want to run? If you're more of a visual person than like looking at details in written word, it very much helps give the vibe of that. Like I could flip to chapter 2 and be like, oh, this is going to be super whimsical. I
Yeah.
love it. Or, I could flip to the Black Dragon one and like, oh, this one looks really dark. And that really gives you an idea of what you're in for before you even start reading it. So you have an idea of which one you're interested in and which one would fit into your world and your campaign and your vibe if you're using it as like a supplement adventure.
Yeah, I want to point out the Black Dragon one feels very classic D&D. It's almost comic book art, like from the 90s, and it's really cool.
Yeah, that one's very like piratey.
Yeah.
I really like the one piece of art in this one where it's like a skeleton pirate and says, "Here lies a weakling unfit to rule."
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just looking. I don't have that. Oh, yeah, it's in the art itself. I was looking for a caption. Okay. Yeah, no, I love the art in this book. What grade do you give this book overall? A+ being the very best, and you can fail a book if it's abysmal.
I mean, I'd say probably a B. I really enjoy it. I do wish there was a little more lore. Like you said, I wish there was Gym Dragons because I really enjoy Gym Dragons, and I feel like every time they reboot an edition, it takes so long to get those. And when they come, that edition is about to be over.
Yeah.
So I would like for them to come up with that, like, at the start, like introduce those early on, because I want to see more Gym Dragons throughout D&D.
Only one that had Gem Dragons in the first half of the edition was 4th edition. Everything else had them really late. Yeah.
I will say one of my gripes about this, and another reason it gets a B, is there are not nearly enough gnomes in this book. I think I saw one and he was dead. So it's like dead gnome miner or something like that. So I need more gnomes out of this book, and then it might have gotten a little bit higher of a grade.
I'm giving this a B as well, but I think it's an odd B, because it's not to say that the content and the quality of the book itself is deserving of a B. What we get, I believe, especially the layout and the deadliness of it, deserves like an A or an A- somewhere in that range. I'm just missing stuff out of it. If I'm spending this much fucking money on a book, I want a little bit more than 190 some odd pages of just adventures, right?
Yeah.
I want a little more. The fact that, at least in the table of contents and D&D Beyond, it doesn't even tell me that there's a supernatural gift in here. I would never know to go looking for it, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a cool thing because it has nothing to do with dragons. It has everything to do with the idea of running a campaign solo, right? That should have been in the fucking Dungeon Master's Guide. Anyway, when do you think someone should add this publication to their library?
I mean, it is a very somewhat niche book with whether you need it. Do you need it to play the game? No, you do not. If you are someone who wants more dragons in your D&D, because I mean, as far as D&D goes, I've talked to many people who I'm like, what's your favorite dragon? What, give me a dragon story that you have. And they're like, I've actually not really encountered many dragons.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring the dragon into Dungeons and Dragons, this is a great book to learn how to do that. And if you are one of the people, like I said, who drops into my DMs and asks me, and are confused on how to run a dragon and like their different personalities and which one would fit in this scenario, this is a great book for that and for those people who really want to run more dragons but don't know how to do it in the proper way. Whether that's, some people run Curse of Strahd and don't ever really run into a dragon and like that more undead and horror games. But this does also bring an undead adventure into it that you can incorporate dragons into. It brings a pirate one that you can incorporate dragons into. So it really does have that, like, no matter what setting or scenario you're in, you can put a dragon into it, and this shows you how to do that. So it really, It really depends if you want more dragon heavy or don't necessarily care. Which I can't imagine anyone not caring about dragons, but I'm sure there's people out there.
I'm gonna say this. I think that it is an absolutely fucking solid entry into the group of anthology books that we've gotten out of the last 10 or 11 years.
Mhm.
This one's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite so far. I have a really, really soft spot for Candlekeep, and I think too many people are sleeping on the Radiant Citadel, but this is so well laid out. It's so easy to run, and it showcases a dragon. They're right in the fucking name of the game. Like, it's so cool. When should you pick this up? When you are looking to run a handful of one-shots because you've got someone in your party has an unreliable work schedule, and you just know that over the next year, there will be 5 or 6 sessions that you're going to have to do something else. Pick this up. This is a great opportunity to have a lot of fun. If you're looking for something to do over the winter break or during the summer break or during another seasonal break, then this is something to do. If you have got, if you are a teenager and you are doing a freaking slumber party situation over the span of a weekend, this book is going to have adventures for you to play in that stuff, right? Like there's a lot of good opportunities here for this. It is absolutely not necessary for people to buy. There's nothing in here for players. It's all for DMs. But it is a load of fun for people who love dragons. So it's going to be, like you say, it's going to depend on the person. It's going to depend on the scenario here. A lot of books we can say, yes, buy this in the first 5 books you buy, or never buy this, it's shit. This one is going to depend entirely upon what you are going to use it for, what you're looking for when you're going to buy a book, right? And it can be run as an entire campaign if you want a dragon campaign that isn't based in Dragonlance, or is the really lopsided 2-parter, The Tyranny of Dragons, from early in 5th edition's run. Right, if you want something published newer than a decade ago, this is a fun dragon campaign, and it will be fun, and all over the place too. Like, anyway, do you have
I would also say it's great for those DMs that, like, I know a lot of people will set up games at game stores or for new players or just for random groups that are doing a 1 to 2 shot. And I think this would be a great pickup for DMs like that who like to introduce players into the game, to have quick, fun, easy, dynamic adventures for them to go on, and you not having to come up with an adventure for every single one that you do. Because that sounds exhausting. If you are a regular DM who does that kind of thing and like every Wednesday runs a group at your local game shop, this would be a great book to have to sprinkle into those sessions that you run.
Yeah, and just beware, if you're going to do this for new players, it is going to be deadly. So you might want to pull some of the punches. Anyway, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
I think we covered pretty much everything. I'm really glad I picked up this book. I will be using it in my sessions with my family, because it fits right in with that and the sort of mini sessions I have planned for them going forwards. As an artist, I love the artwork. As a dragon lover, I love that it showcases each one of the 10 main dragons. I would love to see another one come out with the remaining dragons and the like lesser known and standalone dragons. I'd love to see one of these with a dragon turtle or a deep dragon, or that kind of thing. A moonstone dragon. Like, I would love to see an adventure specifically for those types as well.
I know we're never going to get that because there's no way to just be like, they want you to use the monster manual. So they're not going to say, hey, for this one, you need to buy these 20 different books because we spread dragons out across everything.
Yeah.
But I would love to see a Dragon Delves 2 where they do exactly that thing that you just said. All the gem dragon, shadow dragon, dragon turtle. Let's get some drakes, some wyverns. Let's do it all in here. And then just add a bestiary at the back with all their stat blocks, right? Like,
yeah.
And go from there. I don't think that'd be too difficult, and I think it'd be another fun 10 chapters. And then if Wizard of the Coast is listening to this, then like 3 years later, you could do a compendium with the two of them together and charge $200 fucking dollars, and people will buy it. So
you're welcome.
So anyway, that's all for this episode on Dragon Delves. If you've been inspired by any conversations in this episode, you can reach us through our subreddit r/It's a Mimic, our Facebook group, our Threads account, or on our Instagram.
If you'd like to support us, you can check the show notes below for links to our Patreon, as well as our website where you can donate or check out our store. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and leave positive reviews. Every little bit helps.
That's all for this Legend Lore episode of the It's a Mimic podcast. This episode and others can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and most other podcast apps. Please take a second to engage with a like, follow, subscribe, comment, or review to help push our engagement. Thanks for listening to It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.
If you'd like to support us, we have a store with some merch and a donate button on our website, itsamimic.com. You can also head to itsamimic.com to find a comprehensive episode guide and more information about the show. We do have a Patreon, which not only offers access to our exclusive Discord server, but also hosts over 100 episodes, including a variety of bonus episodes covering topics like 5th edition book reviews and the campaign builder, spells and gods, fae, homebrew inspiration, and even the Blood War. If you'd like to submit any mailbag questions, please reach out to us through any of the social media links in the show notes of this episode, or send us an email at info@itsamimic.com. This has been an episode of It's a Mimic, where you never know what you're going to get.